The third scoring criterion in the greatest need tenant targeting category is people with disabilities, or PWD. To be eligible for this category, projects must have a minimum of 4 units. Projects can claim up to 25% or no fewer than 6 of the total units. The proposal must not be restricted to persons of a particular age group. A percentage of the units are set aside and rented to persons with any of the following disabilities: a serious and persistent mental illness as defined in Minnesota statutes, section 245.462, subdivision 20, paragraph C; a developmental disability as defined in United States Code, Title 42, section 6001, paragraph 5, as amended; assessed as drug dependent as defined in Minnesota statute, section 254A.02, subdivision 5, and are receiving or will receive care and treatment services provided by an approved treatment program as defined in Minnesota statute, section 254A.02, subdivision 2; a brain injury as defined in Minnesota statute, section 256B.093, subdivision 4, paragraph A; or permanent physical disabilities that substantially limit major life activities, if at least 50% of the units in projects are accessible as provided under Minnesota Rules, Chapter 1341. If applicants elect to set aside units to persons with a physical disability, keep the following in mind. The category is not limited to a mobility impairment, and the election triggers the requirement that at least 50% of the total units are accessible per Minnesota Accessibility Code, Type A or B. Minnesota Housing considers accessible units to be Type A and/or Type B units, as identified in the referenced Chapter 1341, also known as the Minnesota Accessibility Code. Minnesota Housing will validate the number of PWD units and all other information with the submitted multifamily workbook. The units must be marked as PWD on the rent and income grade in the workbook. The income limit should be restricted to 30% MTSP, and the type of rental subsidy must be indicated. If no subsidy is available, rent levels must be underwritten to the supportive housing units underwriting standards outlined in the multifamily underwriting standards, and they must be financially feasible. Rural development, RD projects, may be prohibited from selecting particular rent and income restrictions and/or tenant household types. Consult with RD and Minnesota Housing staff with questions related to this. PWD units cannot overlap with HPH units discussed previously. Keep in mind that this category does not permit age restrictions, so senior projects are ineligible for PWD points. Also note that the self-scoring worksheet outlines several threshold requirements that must be met in order to be eligible for points.